so we're here talking to Ellie Lerner and Ludmila Prokarian.
Prakhina.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Well, Ellie, I'll ask you. What are we talking about? Why are we here? What are we?
Well, I got introduced to this amazing lady who created the Prakhin Foundation with the premise of bringing awareness to not just the Holocaust, of course, which was one of the main goals, but also to Stalinism and repressive regime that it had, being that it was kind of not something that's known by a lot of people. I was very interested in what she did, and my background in music and hosting was kind of a good match where I was able to go ahead and help her by hosting her events, coordinating her musical acts and all the other guests with her and her family in the foundation. So that was how I came into this several years ago, and it's been a pleasure for me to do it every year since.
Okay, so I guess Ludmila, you will know. You speak English, right?
Yes.
Good. I don't speak Russian, so.
Oh.
How do we tie Stalin to the Holocaust? Isn't that two different events, or how did you start this?
My vision was put together Holocaust and Stalin's repression, because there's the same genocide. And nobody before did this. And many people, I remember when I did first my event 12 years ago, many people sent me email, I'm wrong, why you put it together, Holocaust and Stalin's repression. But step by step, year by year, everybody understand. And right now, internet, many books, Holocaust and Stalin's repression. Follow me, and I'm very happy about this.
How easy or how hard was it to get this program into the schools? Did anybody give you a hard time, or?
In Jewish school?
Just
At
high
every
school.
school.
Every
Oh
school.
no, it's very difficult work. Oh yeah, this every year I call in every school and explain, and the Holocaust education helped me with this work. And after this award ceremony, I go to school again and give them present certificate to students who not come in our event. This big work, but I understand day by day, step by step, they will know about this subject. Because people think the life easy, only need to take money, work, go to college, but nobody understands that you need to think about what can happen yesterday if you not started today. It's very simple.
Well, why don't you tell us about something about you? How did you get started? Did you come from Russia? Or, I mean, I know you didn't come from Brooklyn with the accent. So.
You know, this, first of all, my family was repressed. My father was killed by Stalin in Siberia. My family was repressed 10 days before the war. 10 days before. 12 June 1941. I'm born in Uzbekistan. And this very difficult time for many families, not only for me. But in Russia, I'm not sure when you talk about this, because it's a big subject, why? But here, in 2008, all was established first in the United Nations Memorial Day, you know that. And I was there in the United Nations, and I sit in the hall and think, oh, I need to do the same thing. My other part of family, who not was repressed, they killed by Hitler in the town Chisinau in Moldova. You know, part family was killed in Stalin's repression, one part of family in Holocaust and Chisinau. The same. And this, and suddenly, I don't know, maybe God gave me a message. I decided, okay, we need to put together Holocaust and Stalin's repression and work with students, work with other people, and we need to do something. And I spoke with my sons, they agree with me, and we worked 12 years.
So you
But we
lobbied all
can
this?
work without any port, or it will be very difficult. You know that we need to work together with some who have the same mission. You know, who understand this subject. Because who not understand, they say, oh, Ludmila, this, you do it because you retire, you have time. But it's not about this. Everybody can spend time go to movie or look TV or something like that, because it's hard work. But people like Eli, very, very busy man, but he helped, oh my God.
All right, tell me about the award ceremony.
This ceremony is conducted. Ludmila has, as you mentioned, in schools and high schools all across New Jersey. The students get to submit all kinds of either articles, poems, or any kind of things that move them and touch them to submit towards a competition to be awarded a recognition of how they see it from the curriculum, what they got from it, and how it affected them. And we had students from several schools like Weehawken and Fairlawn High School and Livingston, et cetera, and submitted beautiful, beautiful poems and beautiful writings and beautiful things that makes this whole event almost worthwhile beyond, of course, its original scope. But you can see kids that had no idea what this is all about and how they got something from it and how it affected them to write something that is so powerful. So we get a chance to award them, to recognize them, to read some of their writings in front of everybody, and so it's a very powerful situation where it proves that her work is trickling down to our next generation, which is what it's all about. Unfortunately, if it's not in eyesight, people forget very quickly what happened, and especially if they're not educated as far as when they know about the Holocaust. And I still always say there's never enough. Because people forget, people think it's exaggerated, people think a variety of things, unfortunately, but meeting some of the survivors and what they've gone through and learning from them and the honor we have in dealing with them, you understand how true it was and how really outrageous and how powerful the whole situation was. We read about it and we see movies. I just saw yesterday by accident, I saw Schindler's List again. And my kid, who's 9 years old, was watching, what is this all about? Explaining to him what this is all about is very important. Education is the key. This is what this does. Educated us, besides just, there was just, of course, the one we know about the Holocaust. There was another regime that killed even more people of their own, including Jewish people, including non-Jewish people, including anybody that was in the way of a tyrant at that point. And over 20 million people died that way, and people don't know about it. And it's important for people to understand that this was tied hand in hand, as he was an ally of Hitler until Hitler turned on him.
Okay, so why don't you tell us when the program is, and again, what do we do? Students write essays and submit them to whoever, or
Right. So Ludmila gives it to the teachers, where teachers can write, students can write essays or poems or anything that moves them with that as far as their curriculum. and they submit it, and then Ludmila goes through every single one of those letters and every one of those submissions, and goes through and then decides with the committee basically as to which ones are the top ones. Everybody gets recognized for submitting, of course, because that's the key point here. But the ones that really go to the next level are the ones that get a certificate. Beyond that, sometimes some sort of a prize or what have you, get recognized by the community, and motivates them, we hope, to continue this studying and perhaps give it to their kids in the future and other students when they're asked about it, so now they're more knowledgeable. Come to the event, Band of Brothers, if you remember that movie. So the movie director was there, the author was there. People that find it important to learn about what happened. So you have Jewish people and not Jewish people, people from all walks of life, young and older. I see 9-year-olds and I see 89-year-olds that come to this, and everybody has a different way of looking at it. The older ones get to tell us what they've been through. The younger ones get to understand that this happened and how important it was and how powerful it was. And so it really bonds a whole several generations together.
Okay, and this is when? It's going to be January 31st? I'm looking at your program.
It's already happened, January 31st.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2019.
Cut that.
So this event occurred on the 31st of January. We normally do it every year about the same date. The last couple of years we've done it over here in Bergen Community in cooperation with Christina from the Center of Peace and Justice Reconciliation in Bergen Community. Before we did it in the Holocaust Museum in Manhattan, right, at the Battery Tunnel there. So both events are very successful and very powerful.
Is it once a year or?
Once a year, correct. Once a year we do this event, and we plan it for pretty much the whole year as far as to how we're going to break it down. We want to make sure that we involve children a lot in this, as the main goal is to get the children, our young generation, to remember. So we will have children performing, reading poems, doing a variety of things that will promote knowledge and also promote art, and through art people are able to express themselves in a way that connects with everybody.
This is the mayor of Fair Lawn, Mr. Kurt Peluso. Mr. Kurt Peluso, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Very excited to be here tonight.
Excellent. Could you tell us what brought you here, first of all?
Yeah, so I was invited. I try to go to as many community events as I can. Obviously, there's a lot going on every night in Fair Lawn, but once I heard what the event was about, that there's a lot of Fair Lawn residents, I had to come check it out, and I'm very excited for the presentations tonight.
Excellent. Thank you very much again for coming. Quick question. Are you familiar with the curriculum a little bit, or what they were talking about, the Holocaust, Stalinism?
I am. I got my master's in history, so I'm very familiar with different genocides. We did a lot of studying, and my thesis was on part of that. So looking forward to see the presentations and learn a little bit tonight. I did meet a Holocaust survivor, which is always an honor to meet, and I'm very interested to hear their personal stories as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're very honored to have you here today. Tonight I have the pleasure of having a student from Fairlawn High School, Thais Brenner. Thais, could you tell us a little bit what brought you here today?
Well, I helped volunteer with the event overall, but also I feel that it's important to know about our past and our roots and where we come from. So.
And who reached out to your school to get volunteers like yourself to come here?
Ludmila Prakhina. Yes.
So this is your first time meeting her and learning about this?
No, I've actually known her from a very long time ago, and she kind of found me again and brought me out here to help.
We are so happy that you're here because you're the reason we are here today. You are the next generation, and through you, the memory and the knowledge lives. So keep up the great job. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, well,
Once again, welcome everybody, and thank you very much for taking time to come and spend this evening with us. It's a very important evening, and I hope you enjoy it tonight. I'm going to start by telling you that we are very honored to have the Mayor of Fairlawn, Mr. Kurt Peluso, as our distinguished guest this evening. We wanted to thank Mayor Peluso for attending our event and would like for him to say a few words. So if you please help me welcome the Mayor to our podium.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. When my secretary got the call, she said, there was a woman from Fairlawn. They're doing an event. So a lot of Fairlawn residents are there, and they're going to be discussing the Holocaust and genocides and showing some art projects. And I said, of course, this is something that I think, especially nowadays, is very important for us to really touch base on. Anti-Semitism is in the rise in our nation, unfortunately. And I think by educating our youth, educating our adults, and realizing what happens in the past, we could try to make sure we don't make the same mistakes that we did before. And it's really a pleasure to come here, to learn a little bit, to speak to so many. I see we have a veteran in the audience, so thank you, sir, for your service. Got to meet a Holocaust survivor, which is always an honor to do. And I'm looking forward to this program as much as everyone here. And thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, man. And today we also have two special guests who traveled all the way from Latvia to participate in our event. Nora Schnepsty, and the principal of Pearly High School, and Tekla Bekesha, the director of Pearly Museum History. Spasiba, and thank you very much for coming. I'm going to give the one Russian word I'll go here. To open our Student Award event, please, I want to welcome Sammy Stegman, the Holocaust survivor and motivational speaker. It's a pleasure to have him with us here. Sammy, if you could please come here.
Good evening, everybody. I am very honored to be here. Obviously, as a Holocaust survivor, I am talking about genocide. I'm talking about the Holocaust, the importance of learning about it. But there is one thing that is actually, in my opinion, missed. And this is to learn about the Stalinist regime. Interestingly enough, whether you know it or not, especially for the young people, the Nazis and their collaborators murdered 11 million people. 6 million were Jews, but 5 million were not Jewish people. And interestingly enough, they murdered foreigners, not their own countrymen. Stalin, on the other hand, he murdered his own people, between 20 and 30 million people. So in my opinion, and I understand that you're director of a school, the mayor and everything else, I think what you should do something to educate not only about the genocide, which is happening today, happened many times, about Holocaust, which will be a unique moment in history, because genocide is the murder of a group. Holocaust is totally different. It is the annihilation of a group. In any comparison to Hitler or to the Nazis is absolutely inappropriate. So hopefully I will get your approval, and maybe you will do something about it to also teach about the Stalinist oppression. Thank you very much. And
Thank you so much, Mrs. Stegman. So before I continue here, I would like to also introduce, we have the pleasure and the honor of having Dr. Tamara Reps Freeman. And Dr. Tamara Freeman is a Holocaust ethnomusicologist. Did I say it correctly? Ethnomusicology, thank you. I knew I was going to butcher that. Educator and recitalist. She's a musicologist for the Association of Holocaust Organizations, the International Alliance of Holocaust Museums, State Commissions, and Education Programs. She's a professor of Holocaust music at the Cali School of Music, that's Montclair State University. And I would like to ask her to join me at the stage as we're going to go on to the candlelighting portion. Thank you. And now we'd like to invite the following guests to light candles to commemorate the victims of genocide and persecution. For the beginning of the ceremony, please welcome to the stage Ludmila Prakhina, President of the Prakhin Foundation. I'd like to invite Christina Haydo, the Center for Peace and Justice and Reconciliation, Bergen Community College, please. Christina still here? Okay. I'd like to invite Mayor of Fair Lawn, Kurt Peluso, please, to help us light a candle as well, please. I'd like to invite Mr. Sammy Stegman, our Holocaust survivor, to also commemorate a candle lighting. I'd like to invite Mr. Bernard Storch, a liberator of 4 extermination camps. I would like to invite Nora Schnepsty from Pearly High School principal. I'd like to invite Tekla Bekesha, Pearly Museum History Director, Museum of History. Thank you. I'd like to invite Chris Nicola, the co-author of a Holocaust survival story, The Secret of Priest Grotto, winner of 2011 award ceremony. I'd like to invite David Silverman, author of the book Like a Star in the Darkness, winner of 2010 award ceremony and sponsor of every year annual student award ceremony. I'd like to invite Sophia Rosenberg from Cogeco Federation, please. I'd like to invite Natalia Prakhina, Young Generation Always Remember, Division of Prakhin Foundation. All right, I'd like to invite at this time Remy Lerner to come up and recite a poem which is called Never Forget, Always Remember by Ludmila Prakhina.
People of the world, rise up for a minute and awaken yourselves and ask yourselves, have I done everything I could for my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren, that they never forget and always remember? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Tamara Reps Freeman, and I have the honor of sharing archival music from the Holocaust with you this evening. This is music that was composed in the ghettos and the concentration camps. The viola that I'm playing on this evening was rescued from the Holocaust, from Berlin, in 1942. It was secretly shipped to the United States, and in a beshared moment, it was put into my hands by a bow maker living in Fort Lee, New Jersey. He had no idea I was researching music of the Holocaust. And so I play this Joseph Bausch viola that was made in Berlin in 1935, keeping in mind the memories and the lessons and the legacies of all those who perished in World War II. With that in mind, I'd like to play Zognit Keinmol, Never Say You Are Walking the Final Road. This piece was written, the lyrics were written by Hirsch Glick when he was only 22 years old. The piece is considered the national anthem of the Jewish people from the Holocaust. So with that in mind, if you are able, I respectfully ask you to please stand.
Thank you so much, Dr. Freeman. I'd like to please welcome Bernard Storch to share with us his memories of liberating concentration camps during World War II. Ladies and gentlemen, Bernard Storch.
I was born in Poland, and I served for the Polish Army during World War II, starting in 1943 and ended in 1945 in Berlin, just 2 blocks past Hitler's headquarters. As a matter of fact, I was with a howitzer cannon, and we saved 10 shots into the building. Unfortunately, he took his life a day before that. So that's my little thing. I lost the entire family. I'm the only survivor. I survived because my mother made me to survive. Why? She was a widower. My father was only 43 years old, a World War I veteran, served 7 years in the Austrian army in Poland. Unfortunately, he got wounded, and unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 47 in 43 in 1937. And my mother got stuck with us 4 little boys. I was the oldest. And eventually, after I graduated from high school, my mother sent me to some practice to my uncle, which was her brother, in Upper Silesia, about 3.5 kilometers from the German border. And when the war started in World War II, I started to go back home, and I made it 3 days later. My mother thought I was going to be gone because the Nazis were there the first day right in that city. And the first thing what you did, and that was Horschel, Königssee, and that was the thing, what they did is set the fire to our beautiful synagogue. That was the only thing which they did after they ended. So I left, and unfortunately that's what happened, and I survived. I survived all those years, and it liberated our unit, liberated three death camps in Poland, because we came from the other side, from Russia. 3 death camps. The first death camp was Sobibor. I don't know if people heard about it or not. Okay, Sobibor was the first one. The second was Majdanek, completely intact, with still a couple thousand people in there, but no Jews. They killed the Jews. They just sent them out on a trip a day before that. Only Soviet prisoners of war. There were over 6,000 Soviet prisoners of war which we liberated there, together with the Soviet army. And the third camp came also in Poland, which not too many people know about it. Helmno. Helmno. Okay? Helmno was the third one. The same thing. Nazis buried the people, and then they dug them out because they were afraid people will find out about it, and they started to burn them. Okay? And then they planted little trees. You can see those trees now. Those trees are now big. Little trees on that spot. And that was my third camp. The final camp came, that's the only time which I liberated living people, living souls, Sachsenhausen. Sachsenhausen was approximately 25 miles from Berlin. Okay, that was the last camp which I liberated, and thank God, I made some people free in that particular time. I came to the United, I got discharged from the Polish army and came to the United States in 19. I'm sorry, but my forgetfulness is here. But I came to the United States 2 years later. My father had a twin brother here. They both served together. My father got wounded. My uncle got caught by the Russians, as a matter of fact, but he was able to escape still in Poland and came to the United States in 1920. And when I came here, he picked us up, myself and my wife, picked us up from the ship and stayed with them for 6 weeks, provided us with our apartment and everything else. And since then, everything is okay. We myself have 2 children, my daughter and my son. My daughter just graduated, just finished actually school, which she was a teacher of dyslexic children in Richmond, Virginia for 44 years. She started that school, 44 years. My son is retired as an administrative law judge from the New York State Health Department. And my wife, unfortunately, is not here. We are not in such a healthy position, and she unfortunately had a hard time walking. So that is the end of that. Until while advancing in White Russia, I came across a mass graves of thousands of people executed by the SS, not in concentration camps, not a concentration camp inside. That quickly changed when we entered Poland, and that was the 23rd of July, 1944. My battery entered the facility, as I explained before, and unfortunately in Majdanek, we had only 800,000 people, 8,000 people what we had in Majdanek. And thank God we had them because they stayed alive. How long they stayed alive, I have no idea. So this is my short story. And it's not so short because it's a long story, actually. And I have only a limited time which do that. And hopefully in the future I'm available and you give me a call and I will come here. I need the transportation because the last 3 weeks, unfortunately, I cannot drive a car anymore. I'm 96 years old, thank God. And yes, thank God. 96 years old. The head is beautiful, the mind is excellent, but the legs don't want to do what I want. So that's the thing. And I want to thank you very much for your patience, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard, for It is quite an honor to have Mr. Bernard Storch with us. Thank you so very much for sharing your memories with us. I can tell you, you certainly remember a lot more than I do, so that's already good. All right, at this time I have the pleasure of inviting a student from Juilliard School of Music, Carissa So, to play Schindler's List by John Williams. Please give her a hand. would like to invite the talented Maya Waxman-Magid and her backup dancers, Shayna, Miriam Rosenberg, and Mia Kratsova, to be accompanied by Tamara Freeman to perform the music piece written by Hannah Senish, Eli Eli.
And I'm the supervisor of social studies, art, and technology in the Fair Lawn District. And it's wonderful to see many Fair Lawn students here performing. It was just wonderful. We do at Fair Lawn High School have an elective course students can take on Holocaust and genocide. And those were several of the students that participated. And several of them were going to come tonight. And unfortunately, their teacher, his father had passed away, and they're there at his wake supporting the teacher. So I came to read one of the entries, and it is, you know, how the Holocaust education is something that's near and dear to my heart, not just as an educator, but I'm not Jewish, but on my father's side, my grandmother came from Roma, and my great-grandmother and several members of my family perished in the Holocaust as well. So it's something that is, this is one, you know, just something that, anyways, I'll read the poem. So this is one of the students, and it's called Gone. My sister, where is my sister? We stepped off the rail car like they said. We waited in the long line and smelled the smoke. My mom cried, my arms ached, and the people all around were quiet. Where is my sister? She's here. I can see her. I hold her hand. She's shaking. The line is narrowing, and I see the man in the white coat. My sister's crying, and I stop to hold her. Wong, move, the guard says. Our mother's behind us as we step up to the man. He points to one of the lines behind him. Where's my sister? I feel her hand. We walk carefully to where the man pointed, and my sister's shaking calmed. But then, a shout, and another hand pulling on my sister's arm. I don't have time to scream before he had her, before the guard took her away. But make no mistake, it came soon after. I screamed like I've never screamed before. I looked to see my sister. On her face, I saw the excruciating expressions, the most cursed of looks, the most painful of cries. In her eyes, I saw fear. I saw confusion, I saw sorrow, I saw pure terror. But then the crowd closed around them and was left standing alone, and the world around me moved, but I stood still. The pang of uselessness, the surge of anguish that flooded me, I felt my soul crumble, my knees weakened, and I fell. Where is my sister? Gone. So again, I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank everyone, and again, apologize on the students' behalf that they could not be here, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Susan. By the way, the poem that you read was from Daniel Mezhiborsky, and he was actually the winner on one of the awards here.
See אלפיים, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים. תודה רבה. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We're going to play Sammy Stigman's message for us to never forget. The young generation always remember. Thank you again for coming, and we look forward to seeing you next year at our event.
I'm Sammy. When I was a year and a half, my family was forced into a labor camp. As a child, I was subjected to Nazi medical experimentation. I almost died of starvation, but a German woman saved my life. While I do not know what tomorrow will bring, I do know this. Almost half of the world population does not know that the Holocaust occurred. It did. About 1/3 believed that the Holocaust is a myth or exaggerated. It isn't. And young people are far less aware of the Holocaust. It is heartbreaking. Yet now, you have the power to share the truth easily. So today, I ask you, please help others learn the truth. Take your picture holding a sign that says, "We remember." Share it with everyone you know on social media. Join the global campaign for the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Make sure that the horrors of the Holocaust are known and never forgotten.